for Constitutional Rights and myself are the lawyers in the United States for Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks has two very big sources of documents. One of them are the documents allegedly that Bradley Manning uploaded, which include, of course, the Iraq war logs, Afghan war logs, the videos, etc. And that's Bradley Manning, allegedly. The others are the Stratfor documents, which is the private intelligence company, which are some 5 million documents that, again, were uploaded to WikiLeaks. So if we talk about our client, Julian Assange, two of the alleged sources are Jeremy Hammond, anonymous, and Bradley Manning. So we're very concerned. WikiLeaks, I know, is very concerned that its sources get protected and all the support they can get. So as part of that, I have been monitoring and going to various hearings with Jeremy Hammond, and I went into the prison and I met Jeremy Hammond, and I was at his recent bail hearing in federal court, where even though he's been in prison some 9 months and needs to prepare for his upcoming criminal case on his alleged hack into the Stratfor emails, the Judge Loretta Preska, denied him bail. It was a 1.5-hour hearing. There were a number of supporters in the courtroom who came from all over the country with Jeremy Hammond, Free Jeremy Hammond shirts on, and it was, in my view, a very hostile hearing to Jeremy Hammond. There are two really criteria in bail. One is, are you going to be a flight risk? And the second is, are you a danger to the community? And the government has the burden of proving that you're a flight risk or a danger to the community. Now, I have to say the judge had probably decided this case before the arguments went on, because she essentially read an opinion after an hour and a half into the record denying bail to Jeremy Hammond. And it was really disappointing because you do have a right to bail under our Constitution. With regard to his being a danger to the community, I mean, they must think Jeremy Hammond is God, because he's not allowed to use a computer that's connected to the internet. But he's not allowed really to, when he gets to use any computer, because they somehow think, or very limited access to any computer, because they somehow think that even though it's not connected to the internet, that this guy is so smart, he'll figure out how to get into documents. And
explain who Jeremy is and what happened to him, how he ended up being arrested.
Okay, Jeremy is a political activist who has been active. He's only 28 years old now, but he has been a political activist for a number of years. He went after everybody from a Holocaust denier, David Irving. He was, the group apparently, I don't know whether he was part of that, was involved in hacking into Scientology. He did some time in jail for a prior hack of a very conservative group. I think he did 1.5 years or 2 years on that. And now he has been arrested for really being, as you said, allegedly part of the group Anonymous. There was an informant in Anonymous, apparently, named Sabu, who is somewhat well known, who actually set up this crime for Stratfor. The FBI gave him the computer that the Stratfor documents were actually uploaded to. There's a pretty clear case of entrapment in terms of trying to get Jeremy Hammond, and they may have even been trying to get our client WikiLeaks to do something with those documents that.
So the government made the Stratfor documents available?
That's right. That's a very good way to say it, Amy. Yes.
Was Stratfor aware of this?
That's a good question. The government knew at some point, and we don't understand this, or I don't understand this, that there was access to the Stratfor emails and 5 million documents. They then gave Sabu a computer that all of those could be uploaded to. They're put on that, and then the FBI is in on this, and then they somehow allow them to go out to WikiLeaks, allegedly. So the government had to be following this, and was every step of the way. So in some way, it's like, I would hesitate to say typical entrapment cases we're reading all the time about Muslims, but it is that. It seems to me that this is a government-made crime.
Well, it's as if they let the bomb blow up.
Right, exactly. This is a government-made crime. That's correct. And Jeremy Hammond was considered one of the geniuses involved generally in hacking, but in the anonymous movement, and in particularly in the Stratfor email.
So where was he picked up?
He was picked up. They raided his house in Chicago, and they brought him here, where the indictment is pending against him, some other people from London and from England or Ireland, a number of other people, for various anonymous allegations. And there's an interesting occurrence. The judge who's trying the case so far, the Jeremy Hammond case in federal district court here in New York.
Her name is
Loretta Preska. She's the chief judge of the federal district court. She's the one who denied bail to Jeremy Hammond in what I consider to be a very, very hostile interview. Very hostile opinion, and really had errors in it that I think should be remedied in his entitlement to bail. But what came out since that time, only in a week ago, and it just came as an email from somebody on the internet, what came out is that her husband, who's a lawyer, I think, at Cahill Gordon, his name is Thomas Cavalier, that his email also was part of the Stratfor releases. So you're going through the Stratfor documents, and there you see a number. You see the email for this lawyer at Cahill Gordon, or Cahill, whatever it's called, a big law firm in New York, and that is the husband of Judge Preska. And even worse, from what I understand, is they actually put up the password that you could get into this lawyer's email account and see what his emails were. So here, look at the situation. You have the judge, her husband has been hacked. Her husband's email is accessible. And she is sitting on the case of the very person who they allege hacked into that email account. Well, the rules seem to me very clear in federal court that if there's any appearance of impropriety, appearance of closeness to the case, that basically you have to recuse yourself from being a judge in the case. You have to do it automatically, even if the defendant doesn't make a motion. Think about it. Your spouse's email is hacked. I mean,
you're pretty angry.
You're pretty angry about that, and even if you're not, the appearance of injustice or the appearance of an impropriety really is enough, it would seem to me, and that's what's allowed. It's not just the actual conflict, it's the appearance of a conflict, and so I think that this judge ought to be off this case.
Well, I mean, this is very interesting because then it's not only his emails that can be read, but presumably they have written to each other, and so the judge herself is exposed.
Right. Well, we don't know that, but this may be, I think someone told me that it may not be maybe his business account, maybe she hasn't written to him, but the point is other people's emails. The point is this is her spouse who's hacked by the very guy she is denying bail to. I mean, think about that. Think about what that means for the system of justice.